I mean, there are weird things about British pubs I don't understand. I mean, one of them is, why don't they sell milk, right? Because they're open till 11 o'clock, okay? Yeah. If it's a choice, do you want to go to the corner shop or do you want to go to the pub to buy a pint of milk? I'll go to the pub. And once I walk into a pub, I'm going to have a pint, right? Well, that's how my brain works.
You know, the co-op should start setting up pubs.
Well, you could have a little pod system. I mean, a few pub chains have experimented with Amazon lockers, okay?
Really?
They're usually in the car park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're obviously experimenting with electric car charging because it's another way of getting footfall. Because I'd basically argue with a pub that it's a footfall problem on the grounds that once people go in, they're going to spend some money.
Well, I'd actually disagree with you.
Okay, go on.
I think the reason that people don't go into a lot of pubs is because they don't feel like they're getting looked after when they're there.
I see what you mean.
They also think that the actual price they're paying for what they're getting is not worth the value for their leisure time that they have invested.
Got it.
And I think that's what the industry needs to concentrate on. Of course, it'd be brilliant if we didn't have to pay VAT.
Yeah.
Of course, and I think that's would be a great thing for the industry and would kickstart it all. But I think that our industry needs to look at caring for people's value for time when they come in and they spend their cash with us. And I think there's many occasions where people will walk into a pub, they won't get served beautifully, it won't be as clean as it should be, the beer might not be quite up to scratch, but it's still £8.50. That is a pointless exercise for me.
I think one of the best things you've ever taught me, Osh, was that whole thing of value for time versus value for money.
Yeah.
And I think I'd love to explore this with you, Rory, because I think the whole point of today is almost like publicans are behavioural scientists who like a fucking pint and having a lovely time. You're essentially studying bullshitters, yeah. I think a lot of behavioural science is bullshit as well in some sense.
No, there's a great measure. There's a great measure which nobody actually uses consciously, but it's quite revealing, which is sometimes called cost per entertainment hour. And some people have used it to explain, first of all, why do skint 18-year-olds spend 85 quid on a computer game? Well, the reason is because they play it for about 200 hours. Yeah. So in terms of cost per hour of entertainment, it's actually very low. Yeah. One of the things that absolutely horrifies me is middle-class people getting sniffy about working-class people having big televisions, right? Because television, in terms of cost per entertainment hour, is absolutely tiny.
Yeah.
Okay? Cinema's quite high, cost per entertainment hour. You're paying, by the time you've gone, it's 30 quid for 2 hours or something like that. So it's quite a useful measure because it often explains... And you could argue that pubs are somewhere in the middle, I guess.
I'd say they're at the high end. They're at the high end, aren't they, really, when you think about it? Yeah. By the time you actually travel there and you have your 3 pints and your Scotch egg and it's 30 quid or 40 quid, I think for a couple of hours that's a huge investment for a normal person. It really is. Yeah. And right. I think when they're making that investment, you need to make sure that the experience is way more than the beautiful pint and the really quality Scotch.
How do you do that here then? In terms of the value for time.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped Islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is, don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.